Good morning, Scituate. It is October 25th on a dreary Monday, but we're glad you're here. I'm Karen Campfield from the Select Board of the Town of Scituate, here with our weekly update with our town administrator and our school superintendent. Before I turn it over to them, just a couple of quick announcements. The scheduled auction for the Minot Fire Station was supposed to happen tomorrow morning, but because of the inclement weather coming, that has been postponed till Thursday, October 28th at 11 a.m. as well. So you can get the updates on our town website on that matter. Not postponed is Tuesday night is our special town meeting. That will be at 7 o'clock, excuse me, 7 o'clock at the Scituate High School Gymnasium. All registered voters are encouraged to come and participate. You can read the entire advisory booklet online to see exactly what important decisions the town will be asked to make on Tuesday night. So please try to join us then. On Friday, October 29th, the food pantry is cordially inviting everyone in Scituate to an open house at their new facility located behind the senior center in the old Gates building. That will take place from 3 until 6 p.m. On Sunday, we're all looking forward to Sunday, Halloween. There will be a Halloween dog park fundraiser to help with expanding the dog park on the Driftway. That's from 2 until 5 p.m. Please bring your doggies in appropriate Halloween costume attire. There are prizes. And something that I know a lot of people are looking forward to is back again in the harbor. We'll be trick-or-treating on Sunday from 4 o'clock until 5:30 p.m. And a big thank you to our Scituate Harbor Business Association for, again, coordinating that. It's a wonderful event. If you haven't taken your littles down there, I encourage you to go down there. That's the town highlights for events. I will turn it over to our town administrator, Mr. Bedreau, to give us an update on town business.
Good morning, thank you. As bad as it is today, it's going to get a little worse the next couple of days. I'll get into that in a little bit, but we'll start as always with our water main construction. We have finished on Old Oaken Bucket. We'll be back in the spring to pave that. However, we will not be paving that before the inclement weather. We are still on Brook Street to Tilden. We're getting close to finishing that main. Once the main is finished, they will test it and then they will begin putting in the laterals. Foam Road is done for the main. That is in testing phase now. And later this week, they'll put in the laterals. We're actually really excited about Foam Road. That's a 2-inch main that's being replaced with a 6-inch main. So those people should see market improvement in their water quality and their water pressure. So we're excited to get that done. Water demand goes down again last week. It's down slightly to 1.162. We're still in the 1.1 to 1.3 million gallons per day range. The manganese levels are dropping in the reservoir, so that should have an impact on the color of the water. We're hoping that continues to go down. The reservoir is at minus 7.55 inches, while Tac Factory is at plus 4.5. I'll remind people we reduced the level in the reservoir just for things like is going to happen over the next couple of days. So we have capacity to hold any rain that's coming in, so we're in good shape there. And we continue to work on the testing of the protocols for a new water treatment plant down at the treatment plant at Old Oaken Bucket. COVID cases, we were at 16 for the past week. That's up 2 from the previous week and the same as the week before that. So we're in the teens, which is good. Our positivity rating is down slightly at 1.69, down from 1.88. Plymouth County's has gone down to 3.11 from 3.19. And the states has gone down to 1.78 from 2.07. So those numbers are all trending in the right direction. We ask people to continue to be safe and do the necessary things to prevent the spread of COVID. And if possible, get vaccinated if you have not gotten vaccinated already. The CDC has already approved a Pfizer booster. Last week, they approved booster shots for Moderna and Johnson & Johnson. If you received a Moderna shot and you are over 65, or you have a comorbidity that COVID exacerbates, or you are in an industry that has a high probability of exposing you to COVID, then you are eligible for a Moderna booster. Anyone who received the Johnson & Johnson single dose is eligible for a booster 2 months after they receive the shot. It is recommended that you get the same shot that you received before, but the CDC has also approved at this point mixing and matching. So if you can't find the same dose that you received for a booster, then you can get a different one for your booster shot. So that is good news for everybody looking for the booster. It has been approved for the 3 major shots, and they're now available for people to go out and get. For children under the age of 12, it is expected that the FDA and the CDC will meet next week for final approval on giving the boosters, the vaccine to children 5 through 11. That is a Pfizer vaccine. It is my understanding that they're already shipping those doses. It is a 1/3 the adult dose. And again, it is expected that final approval for children 5 to 11 will be sometime next week, the week after at the latest. The weather is kind of playing havoc with a lot of our projects. We were expected to be paving on First Parish starting today. Obviously, that's not going to happen. The new schedule is they'll be in Thursday and Friday to raise the castings, with paving the following Monday and Tuesday. Widow's Walk will also be impacted. We were expected to pour the concrete for the walkway and the stairs starting today. That'll be put off. That'll also push back the landscaping, as that cannot be done until the paving is done. But the work is continuing on the inside. The building looks good. We're going to try to get down there, take some pictures this week and post them for people to look at. But I think everybody will be really happy when that's done. Same with the Hummerock Fire Station proceeding along. We were hoping for Thanksgiving. Now we're looking at December 1st. So a little bit of a pushback, but not enough to give us too much concern. It is kind of important that we get that truck inside before the real cold weather comes, because we'll worry about the truck freezing. So we're still on schedule for that. We're pushing the contractor. Good news for everybody out at Cedar Point. We are essentially done at Cedar Point. The contractor will be doing punch list items over the next several days, depending on the weather. We were scheduled to paint the lines in the parking lot starting today. Obviously, that's not going to happen. We'll have to push that off, and then we'll determine when the contractor can come back and do it. So I mentioned a bunch of projects that are delayed by the weather. So let's talk about the weather. We are anticipating our first nor'easter of the storm season. That is expected to start this evening and last until midday on Wednesday. Residents should be prepared for heavy rains, steady winds, 30 to 40 miles an hour with gusts up to 60 miles an hour. This could be problematic from a power standpoint, as the trees are still holding on to most of their leaves, which makes them more susceptible to breakage. So we are expecting power outages throughout the town. Hopefully not widespread. We're looking at just scattered outages. The tides are actually good for us for once. They are low lunar tides this week. The highest tide is on Wednesday at 9:1, which is still a low tide for us. So we are not expecting major flooding. Minor flooding in some of our low-lying areas and some splash over is what we were expecting from this storm at this point. We ask if you have a storm drain near your house, go out and take a look at it, and if possible, clean it. The DPW crews will be out today looking at the storm drains, try to get those clean, but they probably won't get to all of them. We also will be out putting in the storm gates at our beaches starting today. We'll start at Minot and work our way back down the coast. So expect a nor'easter. Everybody's used to it. Little rain, little wind. We'll get through it, and we'll still be at town meeting tomorrow night doing the people's business. So don't let it stop you from showing up. There's a lot of important stuff on the docket. One event that Ms. Canfield missed is that the fire department will be hosting their annual open house this Saturday from 11 o'clock to 3 p.m. at the Public Safety Complex. They're asking that the kids come in costume this year. They have plenty of activities going on. There'll be pizza and refreshments. The fire department does a great job. So if you're around on Saturday, bring your kids to the fire department and they will have a wonderful time. We want to announce that the state has designated Scituate as a cyber aware community. This is based upon cyber training that the town has done with the state through our IT director, Mike Minchello. All the town employees who have access to a computer, which is pretty much all of them, were required to go through cyber training. It is ongoing training, and there is also ongoing testing of that training by the Commonwealth. So congratulations to Mike, our IT director, and his staff and the town employees. That's a pretty good thing. Cybersecurity is something we take very seriously. It's a growing threat, and we'll keep working on that to make sure we keep the cyber security and the data of everybody safe. Two more things real quick. People will remember that at the town meeting, I believe last fall, money was appropriated to rehabilitate and repair an antique fire truck that was the first fire truck purchased by the town of Scituate. It has been acquired by several gentlemen in town. They received over $60,000 from the CPC to repair that truck. Unfortunately, when they went out to solicit bids to repair it, the bids came in over 3 times the allocated funding level. So we were able to make a few phone calls, and I'm pleased to announce that the South Shore Tech will take that truck and will do all the work on it. They'll do the repairs, fix it up. They do a fantastic job. We're excited to let the kids get it, and we should be able to do it within the budget that we have now. So that's good news for the antique fire truck, and I think good news for us in the Tech that we keep that relationship going. Finally, for all the guys at the coffee shop who were bothering me this morning, the Council on Aging lunch menu for November will be posted later on today. They're worried that it's oversubscribed and they can't get in, so they were hoping to sign up for November lunches, but they couldn't get the menu. So I checked, the menu will be up today, and you'll be able to start signing up for your November lunches very shortly. So hopefully that'll make the guys at the coffee shop happy, and they won't be yelling at me when I go get my coffee tomorrow. And that's what I have for today.
Thank you, Jim, for your long service to the community and to the fellows down at the coffee shop. Greatly appreciated. As Jim has noted, Mother Nature will always win. So prepare as you normally would for nor'easter. And if you need assistance, you can call the main 9 numbers at the public safety office. Do not call 911 unless it really truly is an emergency, because they're going to be busy with storm prep. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to our school superintendent, Superintendent Burkhead.
Thank you, Ms. Canfield, and good morning, everybody. Again, just to piggyback on Mr. Boudreau, with the weather coming up, we are looking at our bus routes in areas that are potentially flooded to alter that. So as families out there, if you have concerns or notice things that are happening in your area during this weather forecast that we have, please notify the schools, and we'd be happy to work with you to adjust routes if needed. On a personal note, I bought Patriot season tickets for the first time this year, and they were 0-4 for those of you that know at home. So I thought it was me. So I brought my entire family this week, and they had a great game on a beautiful day. So I hope everybody enjoyed the weekend. And I realize that it may not be me as the bad luck charm. So as far as our schools update goes, we had for our health and wellness update for the COVID cases, we had 6 in the district this week, up from a 0 last week. So we're still averaging around 3 or 4 a week, which is good for us. Also, for those that don't know, we have a test and stay program, one of a handful of districts that have committed to it in the state, which allows our students to stay in school if they are identified as close contacts. And this week, for example, we wrapped up testing in our 1st and 4th graders at Wampatuck for a previous positive case, all were negative throughout the whole time. So we were able to, for example, keep all those students in school, test them daily. So a credit goes out to our nurses who are working really hard, and the families for cooperating, and the students as well. So thank you, everybody. As has been mentioned, the town meeting's coming up. I just wanted to give a little update. We are planning for a new school, and it's always exciting time for a community, and a lot of questions arise, obviously. A new school provides so many things for our students and our staff, including pride. The process in planning for a new school is a lengthy one, taking several years. There are many steps, including gathering information, obtaining fundings. So we're in the first stage, the early stages of this process, with the Mass School Building Authority core program. And the benefit to participating in the core program is that there's a possibility of reimbursement. We are happy to report that our statement of interest has been approved, and we are now in the eligibility phase. This phase lasts for 270 days and began on July 1st of 2021, ending on this March of 2022. There are numerous documents to complete within this phase, most of which have already been completed, including appropriate funds to pay for the next steps. And these next steps would be a complete feasibility study and to develop a preliminary schematic design based on the chosen design, grade configuration, and whether to consolidate or renovate schools. This is where your input as stakeholders is needed. To move to the feasibility study and preliminary schematic design phase, The Scituate community must demonstrate an interest and willingness to move forward. This willingness is represented by a vote at the special town meeting on Tuesday, tomorrow, to appropriate $1.1 million to fund this feasibility study. The funds would be specifically go toward hiring an architect to conduct the feasibility study and an project manager, OPM, to oversee the architect and design as well as the construction as we move into that phase. While this does not commit Scituate to moving forward with construction of a new school, it is required next step by the MSBA to be eligible for reimbursement. If the appropriation is not approved, any construction or repair to the Hadley and or Cushing schools would be the responsibility of the town exclusively. So we're looking forward to seeing everybody come out tomorrow at special town meeting and welcome any questions or comments you may have directly to me or Dr. Dutch in the finance office. Also having to do with the MSBA, they've started a new post-occupancy evaluation project. We were one of the first schools chosen to basically check in on schools that have already been built, in this case, the Gates School, and they look at the space and how we are maintaining its space for learning and its physical structure. They all provide us with a report in which we are able to assess how we are using the facility. So we'll be sharing that publicly forthcoming. It also helps new schools that are building new school projects to learn from what has happened in the past. So I want to give Bob Dillon, Assistant Facilities Director, a shout out, Dr. Dutch, Principal Beatty, Assistant Principal Lesniak, and all the folks over at Gates for their hard work on making that happen. And finally, just a few sailor shout outs. I want to give a shout out to Scituate High's Joe Pumphrey, Steve Howley, and Jackie Frangello for bringing our first ever Credit for Life Fair to our district. This is for seniors and juniors, and ultimately for juniors as we move through our second year and on and beyond, and connects with our community members for real life authentic learning through financial literacy. Exciting program. The turnout was great. It's also collaboration with our community connections. A lot of local businesses showed up, and there was a lot of positive energy, and students learned how to manage money in a realistic type of way. So thank you all for that. Also want to thank Ms. Galvin for her help with the community connections. Finally, a couple more. I was invited to Mr. Seward's physical education class this week. The students were learning how to safely climb during an adventure climb lesson. It was indoors. It was pretty impressive, learning how to safely do that and involve multiple students into doing that. They went up very high. Never had anything like that when I was in high school. So shout out to Mr. Seward and the kids for allowing me to come in and enjoy that. And finally, just some words of advice out there for fellow superintendents and or principals that may be having a tough hour, day, or week. Go down to your elementary schools and you're sure to see some positivity. I visited a few of our elementary schools this week, and from the mouths of babes, I was called the boss of the world and president, neither of which I am qualified or aspire, but appreciated the kind words from our wonderful kids. So great way to end the week last week. Everyone have a great week. In spite of the weather, enjoy, and thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent, and thank you, Jim, for the update. Yep, final push. Thank you for highlighting one of the important decisions made by that will be made at town meeting. Remember that as a voter in Scituate, you are the legislative body of our town, and no decision is made without your okay. So please take that seriously. If you have any questions, call anyone on the board, any of our boards or town administrator's office, and we're happy to help you. But everything you can want to know about what we'll be discussing tomorrow night is in the advisory booklet available online. And I do believe there's some hard copies at Town Hall, Jim. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so if you want the old paper version, which I always do, you can visit Lorraine and Deb in the select board office and pick up a copy of the warrant advisory book. So with that, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night again at 7 o'clock at the high school. Until then, stay safe and stay dry.